Mad Max Fury Road is about tension, more tension, and nail-biting tension. I'm not even going to talk about the synopsis of the movie. Basically, this movie is a chase movie. As Max and his companions runs away, the villain chases them down. As Max and his companion makes a stop, villain still chases them down. And they're never quite far enough to feel safe. And this constantly builds a tension. Also, add to that, Max and his companion has to face an overwhelming forces at the same time. And because of it, as an audience, you're not sure whether they will make it out of this movie alive. Even though in the back of your mind you understand Max is the main character, you just know he and his companions will not come out unscathed. I think this keeps the audience edge of their seat, and that's what's great about this movie. Also, this movie has a great villain. His name is Immortal Joe. In the trailer, he seems very menacing. However, you will quickly realize when you watch this movie that he's a feeble man. He can't even get around without help from his followers. Yet, he was able to build this egocentric ecosystem where he makes everyone around him do his bidding. He holds his citizens hostage by controlling the water supply. He not only made himself into a dictator, but into a holy figure where his followers are willing to die for him and sacrifice themselves with joy because they believe that when they die for Joe, they will go to heaven. There are two more factions that joining chase, and both factions has a similar thing. Both leaders are physically feeble people. Matter of fact, they can't even get on a vehicle without help from his followers. However, no one dares oppose them. Everyone fears them, and everyone's willing to obey their orders. Even though this movie takes place in a post-apocalyptic world, in an outrageous setting, we understand, we can relate to this because we know there are villains like this in our world. There's dictators like this in our world. And I think that's what makes the villains in this movie great. If the settings are outrageous, it's that we understand these type of people exist. Now, the action scenes in this movie are amazing and it's beautifully shot. The action sequences are put together very well. It doesn't seem like choreographed, and it flows very well. Also, a surprising thing about this movie is that the actions are violent, yes, but they're not grotesque. Also, I don't remember hearing any profanity. I was very surprised. I was surprised about that, and I liked the fact that it was done tastefully. Now, in my opinion, the main reason that the action scenes works very well is because it's not overly outrageous, over the top. They just didn't throw money around to make it crazy. There's a certain amount of controlled madness, a reserved outrageousness, if that makes sense. It never deviated from what it is, what it intended to do, which is the fight during chase. It never deviated from that, and it created an amazing sequence. Now, which brings me to the vehicles in this movie. Now, if you watch trailers, if you're thinking about the old Mad Max films, you may think that, okay, this action sequence is simply 80s nostalgia. If you think that way, you're thinking it wrong. Way they explain this in the movie, through visualization and behaviors of actors, is that there is a deep bond between the driver and the vehicle. They understand, even though the vehicles looks put together in haste and looks a mess, but there was method to madness, and they understand exactly how their vehicle behaves, and they know exactly how can they get extra out of their vehicles. It's almost like a religious experiences for them to drive those vehicles. It's like the warrior cherishing their war horses, and they build this deep bond. This is how it is in this movie. Matter of fact, you see many carvings on the bodies of people, instead of like the birds, snakes, or dragon. It's a carving of engine blocks and mechanical things on their body. I thought that was very unique. My favorite rig in this movie is one with huge amounts of amps. And in front of it, there's a guy who plays electric guitars. And in the back of the vehicle, there's several large drums that people play on. It's like when those vehicles are moving together, they're literally an army marching. And this guitar player is marching and encouraging them to move on and fight hard. I thought that was amazing. Finally, Director George Miller did an amazing job with this movie. As you probably know, he directed previously 3 Mad Max movies in the 80s. And you can tell he truly understands this material, he truly understands this character, what this movie is about. And he never deviated from that. When you watch this movie, you will say, wow, this is Mad Max. And he not only just brought back Mad Max, but he polished it, made it even better than ever before. For me, I really enjoy this movie, and this movie has to be one of my favorite movies I've seen this year. I gave my score 8 out of 10, and I think you guys should definitely check it out. So thank you for watching my video. Please share with me what you thought of this movie, and please leave comments below. And if you like, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you once again. I'll see you next time, and fight on.